spiritual awakening trap. Why the chosen one is stuck in a time loop. Break free. The Groundhog Day effect. Welcome back to the Matrix 963. If you are here, it is because you have felt it. That strange, sinking feeling in the pit of your stomach when the alarm goes off. A sense of déjà vu. You look at the ceiling, and for a split second you don't know what year it is. You look at your phone, and the news seems like a remix of the same old chaos. You look at your bank account, and the numbers dance in the same range they did 3 years ago. You look at the person sleeping next to you, or the empty space next to you, and realize the emotional temperature hasn't changed. You are working hard, you are meditating, you are visualizing. You have watched our previous transmissions. You know you are the I Am. You know you are the quantum creator. You have the blueprint, and yet, why does it feel like you are walking on a treadmill? Why does it feel like no matter how fast you run, the scenery remains exactly the same? This is not a failure of your spirit. This is not because you are blocked or cursed. This is a mechanical phenomenon known as the time loop, or as the mystics call it, the circle of karma, or as Hollywood accidentally revealed, the Groundhog Day effect. Most people think hell is a place of fire and brimstone, but the ancient Gnostics believed that hell is simply repetition. Hell is waking up and living the exact same day, feeling the exact same feelings, thinking the exact same thoughts 60,000 times and calling it a life. You, the chosen one, have woken up inside the loop. That is why you are suffering. The sleepwalkers do not suffer from the loop because they are unconscious of it. They think the repetition is normal. They find comfort in the cage. But you feel the walls. You feel the artificiality of the cycle. You scream internally, I am meant for more than this. And you are right. But you cannot break out of a prison if you don't understand how the lock works. You think the prison is made of bad luck or external circumstances. No, the prison is made of time, and the lock is inside your own biology. Today, we are going to dismantle the illusion of linear time. We are going to show you why you are not moving from past to future, but spiraling in a closed circuit of energy. We are going to explain the biological anchor, the reason why your body physically fights to keep you in the past. And most importantly, we are going to give you the exit code. We are going to teach you how to glitch the simulation, how to create a pattern interrupt so powerful that it shatters the loop and catapults you into a new timeline. This is not just a video, this is a jailbreak. Put down your distractions, close the door to the old world. It is time to step out of the circle and into the spiral. Let us examine the architecture of your cage. Chapter 1. The Illusion of Linear Time. The first mistake you make is assuming that time is a straight line. We are taught that yesterday is gone and tomorrow is a fresh new land. This is the linear illusion. It is a construct of the 3D mind designed to help you organize appointments and catch trains. But in the realm of energy, in the quantum field, time is not linear. Time is cyclical. Look at nature. The seasons do not go in a straight line, they cycle. The planets orbit in ellipses. The atoms in your body spin. Everything in the universe moves in a curve. Why would your life be any different?
In physics, we look at energy fields. The electromagnetic field of the human body and the Earth is shaped like a torus. A torus looks like a donut. Energy flows out of the top, North Pole, wraps around the outside, and enters back in through the bottom, South Pole. It creates a continuous, self-feeding loop. What does this mean for your spiritual awakening? It means that the energy you send out today circles back to become your reality tomorrow. The future is simply the past recycled. If you wake up this morning and you emit the same frequency as yesterday, frustration, lack, boredom, that energy goes out into the field, travels around the torus, and hits you in the back of the head as your experience next week. You think you are walking into a new day, but energetically, you are walking into your own exhaust fumes. This is why you are stuck. You are waiting for the future to change before you change your frequency. You say, "When I get the money, then I will feel rich. When I find the lover, then I will feel loved." You are waiting for the loop to break itself. But a torus field cannot break itself. It is a self-sustaining engine. It needs an external operator to change the input. This explains the phenomenon of repeating characters. Have you noticed that you date the same type of person over and over? Different face, different name, but the exact same dynamic. Or you quit a job because of a tyrannical boss, only to find a new job with a different tyrannical boss. The matrix is efficient. It recycles assets. If you haven't learned the lesson, if you haven't shifted the frequency, the simulation simply reloads the same level with different skins. It is Groundhog Day. But here is the deeper, more terrifying question. If you know this, if you know you are the creator, as we discussed in the previous transmission, why is it so hard to change the input? Why do you wake up every morning and unconsciously grab the same emotional baggage? Why does it feel like there is a heavy weight dragging you back to the past, even when your mind wants to fly to the future? Because you are fighting an enemy that is closer than your breath. You are fighting your own body. Let us enter the biology of the time loop.
Chapter 2: The Biological Anchor. This is the secret that separates the masters from the dreamers. You think your mind is in your head. You think that because you thought a positive thought, you have changed. But Dr. Joe Dispenza, a pioneer in neuroplasticity, revealed a shocking truth. Your body is your unconscious mind. Let me explain the mechanics. Every time you have a thought, your brain makes a chemical. If you think a stressful thought, "I am late, I am broke, I am lonely," your brain signals the adrenal glands to release stress hormones, cortisol, and adrenaline. These chemicals flood your body. Your heart races, your muscles tense, your gut tightens. Your body feels the emotion of stress. Now here is the loop. Your body sends a signal back to the brain. "Hey, we're feeling stressed down here." The brain says, "Understood," and it generates more stressful thoughts to match the feeling of the body. Stressful thought, chemical reaction, stressful feeling, more stressful thoughts. Over years, over decades, your body memorizes this chemical state. It becomes addicted to it. Your cells literally develop receptor sites that crave cortisol the way a drug addict craves heroin. Your body gets used to suffering. It gets used to anxiety. It gets used to victimhood. It becomes your home frequency.
So what happens when you have a spiritual awakening? What happens when you decide, today I am going to be happy? Today I am going to be a creator? You wake up, you try to think a positive thought, but your body, the addict, wakes up and notices that the cortisol levels are low. The body panics. It says, "Where's my fix? Why are we so calm? This feels unsafe. This feels unfamiliar." So the body, which is 95% of who you are, launches an attack on the conscious mind, the 5%. It sends waves of anxiety up the vagus nerve. It reminds you of a painful memory from 10 years ago. It makes you worry about a bill that isn't due yet. It creates physical pain or restlessness. It is doing everything it can to provoke you into a reaction. Why? Because it wants you to feel stressed again. It wants you to release the chemicals so it can get its fix. Your body is the anchor holding you in the time loop. This is why positive thinking rarely works on its own. You are trying to fight a chemical addiction with a thought. It is like trying to stop a runaway train with a feather. Every morning, you engage in a battle for your timeline. You wake up. Your conscious mind wants the future, but your body drags you back to the past. And usually by 8 a.m., the body has won. You check your phone. You see the bad news. You react. Boom. You just dosed yourself with the old chemicals. You just re-anchored yourself in the old timeline. The loop resets. You are not living in the present moment. You are living in the chemical residuals of the past. Your body is literally a record of everything that has ever happened to you. And until you learn how to liberate energy from the body, until you learn how to break the chemical addiction, you will never escape the time loop. You will simply be a spiritual person who is stuck in the same life. So how do we break the anchor? How do we convince the body that it is safe to step into the unknown? How do we interrupt the program while it is running? We need a weapon. We need a tool that cuts through the chemical fog like a laser. We call this tool the pattern interrupt. In the next part, we're going to teach you the exit code. We will show you exactly what to do in the moment the trigger hits. We will show you how to startle your system out of the loop and reclaim your energy from the past. Pause for a moment. Check your body right now. Is your jaw clenched? Are your shoulders tight? Is your stomach churning? That tension is the loop holding on to you. Take a deep breath. Let it go. If you are ready to unhook the anchor, write in the comments, "I am breaking the loop." Let the body know who's in charge. Let us proceed to the solution.
Chapter 3. The Familiar Hell. We have established that your body is chemically addicted to the past, but there is a psychological layer to this prison that is even more insidious. It explains the baffling question, why do we stay in situations that hurt us? Why does the person stay in the abusive relationship? Why does the employee stay in the soul-crushing job? Why do you keep replaying the memory that makes you cry? The logical mind says, I want to be happy, but the survival brain says, I want to be safe. And here is the glitch in the matrix. To your brain, safety does not mean happiness. To your brain, safety means familiarity. Let me say that again. Your ancient survival brain, the amygdala, operates on a very simple code. If you survived yesterday, then yesterday was safe. Even if yesterday was miserable, even if yesterday was full of anxiety, you didn't die. Therefore, the pattern is safe. The unknown, the future,
is a blank map. There might be tigers in the unknown. There might be failure. There might be death. So when you stand at the edge of change, when you try to step into a new timeline, your amygdala screams, "Danger, turn back." It prefers the familiar hell over the unfamiliar heaven. This is why you self-sabotage. Right when things are going well, right when you manifest the money or the love, you panic, you pick a fight, you squander the cash, you retreat into your shell. Why? Because happiness feels unfamiliar. Peace feels suspicious to a nervous system wired for war. Your body doesn't know how to metabolize joy, so it rejects it like a foreign virus and runs back to the comfort of chaos. We call this the comfort zone, but that is a terrible name. It should be called the familiar zone. Most people's comfort zone is not comfortable at all. It is painful, it is suffocating, but it is predictable. And for the ego, predictability is God. The ego wants to know what is going to happen next. If you wake up depressed, the ego says, "Okay, I know this script. I know how to play the victim. I know my lines." But if you wake up empowered, the ego says, "I don't have a script for this. Who am I if I'm not the victim?" This is an identity crisis. So the chosen one faces a terrifying choice. To break the time loop, you must be willing to feel unsafe. You must be willing to step into the void where you don't know who you are anymore. Dr. Joe Dispenza calls this crossing the river of change. On one bank is the old self, the known. On the other bank is the new self, the unknown. In the middle is the dark, cold water of the void. This is why 99% of people turn back. They dip their toe in the meditation, feel the discomfort of losing their old identity, and they run back to the burning city. At least in the city, they know their neighbors. But you must build a tolerance for the unknown. You must learn to interpret the feeling of unfamiliarity, not as danger, but as excitement. When your stomach churns because you are doing something new, tell your body, "This is not fear. This is the thrill of creation. We are leaving the map." The familiar hell has a gravitational pull. It uses triggers to pull you back. A trigger is not just an event, it is a button installed in your psyche that, when pressed, instantly downloads the old program. Let us dissect the anatomy of the trigger. Let us see how the trap is sprung.
Chapter 4: The Trigger and the Reaction. How does the time loop physically reset? It happens in a split second. If you can slow down this second, you can control your destiny. If you miss it, you are a slave for another day. Here is the equation of the loop. Event plus reaction equals reality. Let's look at the trigger. A trigger can be anything: a tone of voice, a text message, a traffic jam, a look on someone's face. In itself, the event is neutral. A traffic jam is just cars on a road, but your past gives it meaning. Your past says, "This is disrespectful. They are wasting my time," or "I am going to get fired." The moment you interpret the event through the lens of the past, you activate the reaction. This is where the chemical flood begins. You feel anger, you feel fear, you feel unworthiness. Now pay close attention. There is a concept called the refractory period. This is the amount of time it takes for your body to recover from the chemical reaction and return to baseline. For the average person, the sleepwalker, something bad happens at 8 a.m. They get angry. They are still angry at 9 a.m. They are still talking about it at lunch. They are still complaining about it at dinner.
the chemical reaction lasted all day. When a reaction lasts for hours or days, we call it a mood. I'm in a bad mood today. Why? Because of that thing this morning. Now, imagine the reaction lasts for weeks or months. We call that a temperament. He has a bitter temperament. Why? Because he went through a divorce last year. Now, imagine the reaction lasts for years. We call that a personality trait. She is a fearful person. Why? Because of something that happened in her childhood. Do you see the trap? Your personality is just a chemical reaction that never ended. You are living in a refractory period that has lasted for decades. You think this is who I am. No, this is who you were when the trigger first happened and you never turned the switch off. You kept observing the loop, kept retelling the story, kept refiring the chemicals. Every time you react to a trigger in the same way, you wire your brain deeper into that identity. Neurons that fire together, wire together. By the time you are 35, your brain is a hardwired circuit board of automatic reactions. You are a robot. Someone pushes the guilt button, and you play the sorry program. Someone pushes the anger button, and you play the yell program. There is no free will in this state. There is only programmed response. To reclaim your free will, to break the time loop, you must insert a wedge between the stimulus and the response. You must find the gap. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor, said, "Between stimulus and response is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." The time loop relies on you closing that gap instantly. Trigger, reaction, no space, no thought. Your mission, time engineer, is to widen that gap, to catch the trigger mid-air before it hits the button. But how? When the chemicals are flooding your blood, how do you stop? Willpower is usually too weak against adrenaline. You need a shock. You need a technique that short-circuits the robot. We call this the pattern interrupt. This is your exit code. This is the tool you will carry in your pocket every day. Chapter 5. The Pattern Interrupt. What is a pattern interrupt? In neurolinguistic programming, NLP, a pattern interrupt is a technique to break a habitual thought or behavior by doing something unexpected. It is like scratching a vinyl record. The needle jumps, the song stops, the loop is broken. The time loop runs on momentum. It expects you to follow the script. Script: partner insults you, you get angry, fight ensues, you feel lonely. If you follow this script, the loop strengthens. But what if, right at the moment of the insult, you did something completely illogical? What if you smiled? What if you whispered? What if you started doing jumping jacks? What if you simply walked away in total silence? The loop would crash. The brain wouldn't know which chemical to release next because the script was violated. This creates a window of neuroplasticity. In that moment of confusion, you can insert a new program. The protocol for breaking the loop. Step 1. The stop command. The moment you feel the familiar chemical rush, the tightening of the chest, the heat in the face, you must catch it. You must have a level of self-observation, as discussed in video 30. Internally scream, "Stop," or visualize a giant red stop sign, or physically snap a rubber band on your wrist. You need a physical or mental jolt to interrupt the automatic firing of neurons. Step 2. Change the physiology. You cannot change your mind with your mind when you are in a triggered state. You must use the body. The body is leading the reaction, so you must hijack the body. Breath. Take a massive, deep breath. Hold it. Exhale slower than you inhaled. This forces the nervous system from sympathetic, fight or flight, to parasympathetic, rest or digest. Posture. If you are slumped, stand up. If you are standing, sit down. Shake your hands. Look up at the ceiling. Why? Because the depressed you has a specific posture. The angry you has a specific posture. If you break the posture, you break the container of the emotion. Step 3. The pivot, the new choice. Now that you have created the gap, you have about 3 seconds to make a new choice. Ask yourself, what would the future me do right now? Would the future you, the one who is wealthy, loved, and wise, scream at this person? Would the future you spiral into anxiety over this email? No. The future you would probably laugh, or ignore it, or handle it with grace. Act like that person, immediately, even if it feels fake, especially if it feels fake. Fake just means unfamiliar. Do the opposite of what the old self wants to do. If the old self wants to withdraw, reach out. If the old self wants to complain, say thank you. This is quantum warfare. Every time you execute a pattern interrupt, you are severing a neural pathway to the past. You are denying the pain body its food, and you are laying a new cable to the future. Let me give you a real-world example. Imagine you are stuck in a loop of financial anxiety. Every time you open a bill, your stomach drops. Trigger. You worry for hours. Reaction. The interrupt. Tomorrow, when you get a bill, stop. Do not open it yet. Put it down. Stand up. Put on your favorite song. Dance for 1 minute. Or just breathe until you feel calm. Then pick up the bill and say, "Thank you for the service this money provided. I have more than enough to pay this." Then open it. You just rewired your relationship with money. You broke the association between bill and fear. You created a new association, bill and gratitude or abundance. If you do this consistently, the time loop must dissolve. The reality must shift because you are no longer the same person who created the loop. You are a new observer. But be warned, the matrix will try to bait you back. When you start interrupting patterns, the triggers might get louder for a while. This is the extinction burst, the dying program fighting for its life. Do not be fooled. Keep interrupting. Keep pivoting. In the next part, we're going to take this a step further. We're going to teach you how to set the trajectory of your day before the triggers even happen. We'll introduce the Future Self Protocol, the morning ritual that immunizes you from the time loop. And we'll explore the power of the heart to override the brain. I want you to identify your biggest trigger right now. Is it your boss, your ex, your bank balance? Write it down in the comments, but frame it as a challenge you have already won. I am bigger than your trigger. I am bigger than my anxiety. I am bigger than my past. Declare your victory. We're moving to the morning protocol.
Chapter 6. The Future Self Protocol. You have learned how to interrupt the loop during the day, but the most dangerous moment, the moment where 90% of the battle is won or lost, is the first 10 minutes after you wake up. This is the genesis moment. When you first open your eyes, your brainwaves are in a mix of delta, deep sleep, theta, hypnotic, and alpha, creative. You are not yet fully you. The personality called your name has not fully booted up. The problems of yesterday are still in the cloud, waiting to be downloaded.
For the average person, the groundhog, here is the routine. Eyes open, reach for the phone, check messages or news, download chaos or stress. Remember the problems. Oh right, I hate my job. Oh right, I have debt. The body reacts to the memory. Cortisol spikes. The old self is successfully loaded. Boom, you are back in the loop before you even brushed your teeth. If you want to break the time loop, you must hijack this Genesis moment. You must install the future self protocol. You must refuse to be the old person. The protocol. 1. The physical freeze. When you wake up, do not move. Do not reach for the phone. Do not jump out of bed. Stay in that twilight state. This is the state where the door to the subconscious is wide open. If you move too fast, you spike into beta waves and the door closes. Lay there. Be the observer in the darkness. 2. The identity selection. Before you remember who you were yesterday, decide who you are today. Ask yourself, who is the version of me that has already escaped the loop? How does that person feel? Do they feel anxious? No, they feel free. They feel light. They feel eager. 3. The emotional rehearsal, the download. Now, consciously bring up that feeling. Do not wait for the external world to give you a reason to be happy. Cause and effect. Generate the feeling of gratitude. Generate the feeling of excitement. Smile physically. Force your brain to fire the joy circuits before the day begins. By doing this, you are priming your biology. You are telling yourselves, we are not living in the past today. We are living in the future. Dr. Joe Dispenza says, if you can't be greater than how you feel in the morning, you are living in the past. Now, the mental walkthrough. Visualize your day. See yourself handling the triggers. See yourself driving to work, but visualize doing it with peace, not road rage. See yourself talking to your boss, but visualize doing it with confidence, not fear. You are pre-programming the reactions. You are laying down the tracks for the train to follow. This is not just positive thinking. This is neural priming. When you finally get out of bed, you are not stepping into the old loop. You are stepping into a day that you have already lived in your mind. You have created a memory of the future. And here is the magic. Because you have already felt the emotion of the future, the matrix gets confused. The matrix thinks the future has already happened. And because the quantum field reflects who you are, not what you want, it begins to rearrange the events of the day to match your new frequency. You might find that the traffic is lighter, the boss is nicer, the bad luck disappears. Why? Because you didn't download the virus. But there is a catch. You can do this mental work perfectly, but if your heart is closed, the signal will be weak. The brain is the electrical signal. The heart is the magnetic charge. To truly blast out of the time loop, you need the engine of the heart. Let us explore the physics of coherence.
Chapter 7. Heart Coherence. We talk a lot about the mind, but in the ancient mystery schools and in modern biophysics, the heart is the emperor. Why? Because the magnetic field of the heart is 5,000 times stronger than the magnetic field of the brain. Think of your brain as the steering wheel. It sets the direction, the thought. Think of your heart as the engine. It provides the power, the emotion. You can steer all you want. You can visualize abundance all day long. But if your engine is broken, if your heart is stuck in fear or resentment, you aren't going anywhere.
The signal is too weak to reach the quantum field. Most people living in the time loop are in a state of incoherence. This means their heart rate variability, HRV, is jagged and chaotic. It is like static on a radio. It screams danger, stress, survival. When you are in incoherence, your energy field shrinks. You go into survival mode. You are easy prey for the matrix. You are heavy. You are dense. To escape the gravity of the loop, you need coherence. Coherence is when the rhythm of your heart becomes smooth, sine wave-like, and orderly. When this happens, the heart entrains the brain. The brain clears up, the creativity opens, and most importantly, your magnetic field expands up to 3 meters around you. You become a broadcasting station. You stop trying to get things. You start emitting a signal so strong that reality bends around you. The heart lock-in technique. This is your emergency brake for the time loop. You can do this anywhere, in the car, in the bathroom, at your desk. Step 1. Heart focus. Shift your attention from your head to the center of your chest. Place your hand on your heart if you can. Where attention goes, energy flows. Step 2. Heart breathing. Slow your breathing down. Inhale for 5 seconds. Exhale for 5 seconds. Imagine the breath is flowing in and out through your heart area. This signals the amygdala that you are safe. It stops the cortisol dump. Step 3. Heart feeling. This is the secret sauce. You cannot just breathe, you must feel. Activate a regenerative emotion. Think of a person you love, a pet, a beautiful sunset. Feel appreciation, feel care, feel gratitude. Not the idea of gratitude, the sensation of it in your chest. Hold this feeling for 2 minutes. Radiate it out. When you do this, you are creating a 0-point field within yourself. You are stepping out of the past-future anxiety and entering the eternal now. The loop cannot exist in the eternal now. The loop needs memory to survive. In coherence, you are pure presence. If you practice this 3 times a day, you are training your body to live in a new chemical state. You are weaning yourself off the addiction to cortisol and hooking yourself on to oxytocin, the love hormone. The biological anchor begins to rust and break. The heart knows the way out. The mind analyzes the cage. The heart picks the lock. But once the lock is picked, once the door is open, you have to actually walk through it. And this leads us to the most difficult spiritual test of all, the sacrifice of the old man. You cannot take your baggage into the new dimension. Are you ready to leave your old story?
Chapter 8. Walking Through the Door. Here is the brutal truth about the time loop. Part of you, a dark, hidden part of you, loves the loop. Why? Because the loop gives you an identity. You know who you are in the loop. You are the one who was betrayed. You are the one who had a hard childhood. You are the one who is struggling. It is a painful story, but it is your story. You have carried it for so long that it feels like your skin. You use it to get sympathy. You use it to justify why you haven't succeeded. You use it to bond with other victims. To walk through the door of awakening, you must drop the story. You must be willing to become no one. You must be willing to give up the right to be angry. You must give up the right to blame your parents, your ex, or the economy. This is the quantum toll. The toll to enter the new timeline is your old identity. Many chosen ones get to the door, see the light, but refuse to let go of the suitcases.
They want to be happy, but they also want to keep their resentment. They want to be wealthy, but they also want to keep their poor me narrative. Physics does not allow this. The vibration of victim cannot exist in the vibration of creator. They are incompatible frequencies. You cannot tune in to 96.3 FM and 88.5 FM at the same time. So we arrive at the ritual of passage. This is a mental act of surrender. I want you to visualize a doorway in front of you. It is made of pure, blinding light. Beyond that door is the timeline where the loop is broken, where you are free, where you are whole. But look at your hands. What are you holding? Are you holding the memory of that argument? Are you holding the belief that you are not good enough? Are you holding the fear of judgment? These are not facts. These are energy parasites. They feed on your attention. They keep you heavy so you can't fly. To step through, you must drop them. And this feels like death. The ego will scream, "But if I forgive them, they win." No, if you forgive them, you free yourself. Forgiveness is not for the other person. Forgiveness is cutting the elastic band that snaps you back to the past. The drop. Close your eyes. Visualize the heavy bag of your past. Feel its weight. Feel how tired your arms are. Take a deep breath and open your hands. Let it drop. Hear the thud. Do not look back at it. Step forward. Step into the light. When you walk through that door, you are stripping yourself naked of the old man. You are entering the I am. In the I am, there is no history. There is only potential. When you do this, you will feel a sensation of weightlessness. It might feel strange. It might feel empty. Do not fear the emptiness. The emptiness is space for the new to enter. You have formatted the hard drive. Now you can install the masterpiece. You have broken the biological anchor. You have interrupted the pattern. You have walked through the door. But now you are a newborn babe in a new world. You are vibrating at a high frequency, and this makes you visible. It makes you bright. And in a world of shadows, a bright light attracts attention. Some of that attention is good, but some of it is predatory. There are forces in the 3D world, people, situations, entities that want to hook you back into the loop. They want to feed off your new light. We call them energy vampires. We call them the Matrix agents. You have escaped the prison. Now you must learn how to defend your freedom. You need a shield. In the final part of this transmission, we will prepare you for the world after the escape. We will show you the signs that you have successfully shifted timelines, and we will set the stage for the ultimate protection protocol. Are you brave enough to drop the bags? Are you ready to be no one so you can become everything? Write your declaration in the comments. I drop the past. I enter the new. The door is open. Walk through.
Chapter 9. The Signs of Escape. You have dropped the bags. You have walked through the door. You have interrupted the pattern of the old self. Now, you wait for the world to change. But here is the secret. The world doesn't change instantly. The hologram takes time to re-render. However, before the big changes, money, love, health arrive, there are subtle glitches in the simulation. These are the signs that you have successfully broken the time loop. Most people miss them. They think they are coincidences. You, the time engineer, will recognize them as confirmations. Sign number 1, the collapse of probability, synchronicities. When you are stuck in the loop, life is predictable. Cause and effect are rigid.
But when you break the loop, you enter the realm of non-locality. You start to see impossible coincidences. You think of an old friend and they call you 5 minutes later. You need a specific book and you find it left on a park bench. You see repeating numbers, 1111, 2222, 963. These are not just random digits. These are system codes. They are the matrix's way of saying your frequency has locked onto a new coordinate. The mathematical probability of these events is nearly zero. The fact that they are happening means you have bent the curve of probability. You are no longer on the linear track. Sign number 2, the great departure, people falling away. This is the sign that hurts the most. As you shift your frequency, your vibration rises, but the people around you, your friends, your family, your partner, might still be vibrating at the old frequency. Physics dictates that dissimilar frequencies cannot resonate. You will find that conversations with old friends feel empty. You will feel drained around people you used to love. And suddenly, without a fight, without drama, they will drift away. Or they will lash out at you. "You've changed," they will say. "You think you're better than us." Do not feel guilty. This is not arrogance. This is physics. You are a rocket ship taking off. The heavy boosters must fall away for the ship to reach orbit. If you try to hold on to them out of guilt, you will crash the ship. Let them go. Trust that as you clear the space, new people who match your new creator frequency, are being magnetized to you. Sign number 3, the void, the great silence. There is a period after you break the loop, but before the new life appears. We call this the void. It feels like nothing is happening. The drama stops, the chaos stops, but the good stuff hasn't arrived yet. You feel isolated. You feel like you are floating in deep space. The ego hates the void. It screams, "I'm bored, something is wrong." But the spirit loves the void. The void is the room of creation. It is the silence of the artist before the first brushstroke. Do not fill the void with cheap distractions. Do not scroll your phone. Do not look for drama. Sit in the silence. Enjoy the peace. You are resting between incarnations while still in the same body. Sign number 4, emotional neutrality, the eye of the storm. This is the ultimate test of the master. The triggers will come back one last time, the final boss of the level. A massive bill will arrive, or your ex will text you, or a crisis will happen at work. The matrix is testing. Are you sure you have changed? But this time, something is different. You look at the crisis and you feel nothing. No panic, no shaking hands, no racing heart. You just look at it and say, interesting. You observe it without absorbing it. You realize that is the old timeline trying to hook me, but I don't live there anymore. When you can look at your biggest fear and feel neutrality, you have won. The emotional cord is cut. The loop is shattered. The memory has become wisdom. Sign number 5, time distortion. You will begin to experience time differently. Hours will feel like minutes when you are in flow. Days will feel like weeks because you are processing so much growth. You stop waiting for the weekend. You stop dreading Monday. You start living in the vertical time, the now, instead of the horizontal time, past, future. When these signs appear, celebrate. Do not ask, "Where is my money?" The signs are the evidence that the money is inevitable. The shadow of the future has already touched you. But there is a warning I must give you, a warning that is rarely spoken of in spiritual circles. When you break the loop, you become bright. You become a high-voltage generator in a dim world. You become a lighthouse. And while lighthouses guide ships, They also attract bugs. They attract storms. They become targets. Because you have escaped the Matrix's primary control mechanism, the loop, you notice you. You are now a glitch in the system. And there are forces, energetic and human, that will try to siphon your new power. They see your light, and they are hungry. You have learned to create energy. Now, you must learn to protect it.
The newborn star. You are no longer the person who clicked on this video. You have dismantled the biological anchor. You have installed the future self protocol. You have walked through the door of no return. You are free from the time loop. You are like a newborn star. You are burning hot and bright. Your potential is infinite. But a newborn star is also vulnerable. In physics, high energy always flows to low energy. This is entropy. In the spiritual realm, this law still applies. You are now high energy. The world around you, the unawakened mass, the drama-addicted friends, the fear-based media, is low energy. The moment you step out of your house, the world will try to equalize the pressure. It will try to drain you to fill its own void. People will dump their trauma on you. Situations will try to provoke you. Energy vampires will sense your open heart and try to attach themselves to your field. They do not do this because they are evil. They do it because they are starving, and you look like a feast. If you do not know how to seal your vessel, if you walk around with an open heart but no boundaries, you will be drained dry in a week. You will fall back into the loop, not because you wanted to, but because you ran out of fuel to stay in orbit. Many chosen ones escape the loop, only to be dragged back down by the weight of others. They think compassion means letting everyone consume me. It does not. Compassion requires a container. Water without a cup is just a puddle. Light without a lens is just a scatter. You need a shield. You need to learn the physics of spiritual protection. You need to know how to navigate a 3D world that is addicted to fear while maintaining your 5D frequency of love. How do you deal with negative family members without lowering your vibration? How do you go to a toxic workplace without absorbing the stress? How do you close the holes in your aura that are leaking your power? In the next transmission, video number 32, we are going to hand you the armor. We will answer the question, why do you leak energy, and how to stop it now? We will teach you the gray rock method of quantum invisibility. We will teach you how to seal your aura before you sleep and before you wake. You have learned offense, creation. Next, you must learn defense, protection, because the treasure you have found is too valuable to lose. But for today, rest in your victory. Look at the clock. It is no longer a circle. It is a spiral staircase leading up. And you have taken the first step. Until next time, my friend. If you have felt the shift during this transmission, if you are ready to defend your new timeline, seal this contract with the universe. Write in the comments, I am free. I am the spiral. The loop is broken. The ascent begins. Welcome to the spiral.